This week's Look at Local Sports sponsored by 315 Local Bakery and Diner, Alexandria Bay.
Hi there, folks. Welcome again to our nice little podcast. We got Ashley Seabolt behind the board doing her magic, and it's nice to be with you, Rob, once again as we talk local sports. We'll kind of touch some national action too, but this is all brought to you by 315 Local Bakery and Diner in Alexandria Bay. And I remember sending Les out for food.
He never came back.
We haven't seen him since. I don't know what happened to Les. Is he still working?
I think so, yeah.
All right. Well, so
he's got our food, though. So.
He has our food and is well fed. But we appreciate them being with us once again for this segment. And I thought we would focus in a little bit on some early action of individual players who have done well so far this year. You know, in the case of baseball and softball, that season's slowly rolling out
because of the weather.
Because of the weather, but there's been some lacrosse players. And how about if we begin with the girls' side in South Jefferson?
Let's do that. And we're going to talk about Amalia Neto.
Amalia Neto. Now she transferred over from Watertown to South Jefferson.
What a player to get, huh?
Yeah, not bad.
I mean, just adding to that program, like, you know,
Yep.
I mean, they needed more firepower. They got a good one in Amalia Neto.
They do. And so far this season, she's had 21 goals and 14 assists. She's made her presence felt with the Spartans. And, well, you talk about a team that's off to a great start, South Jeff.
Yeah, big win Wednesday night as well. And, you know, Amalia Neto, only a sophomore, so she's got 2 more years with that program.
Pretty impressive. We're going to move into the city of Watertown, the Lady Cyclones, girls lacrosse, and Olivia Michutek, who's having a tremendous year so far.
Another sophomore as well.
Yep.
She's got 22 goals and 7 assists, following in the footsteps of her sister.
You know, and the strange part is you interview her.
You can't tell the difference.
She sounds like her sister. She looks like her sister. And she's playing like her sister, which is very important for Watertown. So congratulations to Olivia, who's off to a great start so far this season. We move to the boys. We'll stay in Watertown, and I'll give you a little hint coming up for my athlete of the week this week. It's going to be Nico Spaziani of Watertown, and why not?
20 goals and 8 assists to lead the way for that powerful Cyclones attack. They also have Jack Adams, and they also have Cage Loftus. So that trio playing really well for Coach Brian Navarro so far this season.
And Nico, it's fun to watch him. Speed.
Yeah.
No matter what he plays, whether it's soccer, basketball, or lacrosse, he has tremendous speed, and that really separates him from a lot of the other players in the Frontier League.
And I'll tell you what, that shot he has is just, it's a rocket.
Yep, and I'm sure Mother Stacy will be happy that he's going to be recognized this week, and well deserved too, Nico. Congratulations. Let's move back to South Jeff, and I'm not sure if this gentleman's related to me or not. And
Chase Waite?
Chase Waite, and even if he is, he may not admit it.
Well, I believe his grandfather is Chip Burdick.
Yes.
From Can-Am Speedway fame.
Yep. Then he's got to be related to me. Chase is having a great season so far for South Jeff. The South Jeff boys are doing well.
Yeah, they're off, I believe, to a 3-0 start so far this season. Coach Randy Fuller's got them playing well and vying for a Frontier League championship.
Yep, 15 goals, 7 assists so far this season for Chase. Doing a tremendous job, and keep up the good work, cousin. Carthage baseball, Ian Minot. Carthage Comets always have a talented team, individual players. Joe Sech has done a great job over the years. Joe Sech. Hello, Joe Sech. Joe Sech. He's got this young guy, Ian Minot, who's playing well for him. He had a 2-run homer the other day, and I think went 2 for 4 at the plate, drove in a bunch of runs. Individually, having a good season so far for Carthage.
You know, and the Comets, you know, always have a good team year in and year out. And I've got to give props to Coach Sech, because On Friday night, I texted him. They were supposed to play South Jeff on Saturday at Carthage. He was up early Saturday morning out getting the field in Carthage ready so they could play an 11 o'clock game against South Jeff, and they played. Things didn't go very well for him against South Jeff, but still, you got to give props to Coach Joe Setch for getting out there and doing all the work, getting the field ready, where other teams just say, yeah, we'll play another day.
And by the way, I don't know if you were around in his high school career or not, or if you had just come to town, or how it worked. He played quarterback for Indian River.
Really?
Joe Setch.
I did not know that.
And I always tell him he was one of my favorite quarterbacks.
Wow.
He played well. Yeah, Indian River, a good athlete. I mean, just a great athlete. And he's a old school Warrior, now Wolf product.
I did not know that. See, there's
Joe Setch.
Learn
Joe
something
Setch
new every
played
day.
in Indian River. South Jefferson defeated Carthage on the baseball diamond, and Nate Madison having a good season so far in that game against Carthage. He was 3 for 3, 3 runs scored, drove in a pair, so he's off to a good start for the Spartans.
Coach Peters has the Spartans playing well so far early on in the season. They look like they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, not only in the Frontier League, but in Section 3 as well. As I said, I was out there Saturday, and they jumped out to a very quick lead and never looked back against Carthage.
Yeah, they're having a good season so far. How about Thousand Islands softball?
Oh, your favorite player because you share the same first name.
Right. Well, we're both named Melanie.
Well, Mel.
Oh yeah, I knew
Mel. Because whenever they call, how did Mel do?
She started out with a no-hitter, striking out 17. Not bad performance for Melanie Wiley and the Wiley family.
Yeah.
All different branches of that family.
Delaney,
have contributed to Viking sports over the years.
Yeah, and Coach Scott Lalone has them playing well this, and to be Coach Scott Lalone and have that kind of talent come up through your softball program. You talk about Melanie Wiley. It's just the Wiley family has been a staple, not only in softball, but in baseball as well.
In baseball,
all the
too.
Sports at TI. So.
Yeah, tremendous athletic family, very talented. How about Alana Lagdon of Indian River? She also had a no-hitter.
Yeah, and she was 2 for 3 at the plate, drove in 3 runs. So, Coach Jamie Call had to be happy with that performance.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Up next, Robbie, what do you think? Teams headed to Myrtle Beach. I know of 2 that are going to be playing down there. One baseball, one softball. Watertown baseball. General Brown softball is heading down there. Have you heard of any other teams that are playing outside of the area?
Have not, but as we speak this week, Good Friday coming up.
Yep.
Most all the schools around here start their spring break vacation on Good Friday, which means next week there's not going to be a lot going on.
It's going to be quiet. I know Lowville is at Sandy Creek for baseball. For
I think like Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah.
Yep. And I'm not quite sure of any other teams that'll be playing. Usually Carthage plays a game sometime during the course of that week, but I'm not even sure if they've got a game scheduled.
And the funny thing about it is if you look at the weather forecast for next week, it's supposed to be pretty nice. It's supposed to be in the mid-50s. These teams struggling to get games in here. They go down to South Carolina. Maybe it rains down there and it's nice up here. I remember one year teams went down to South Carolina. It rained all week. It was in the 50s, and it was like 78 here all week. And, the teams that were around here got together and said, hey, let's play some baseball.
Yep. Do you remember South Louis used to go to the Ripken?
Yes, the Ripken
Academy. Was it Chad Brown?
Yes, Chad Brown. Yeah. And I believe that is where Watertown is going to be playing next week because I looked at their schedule. They play 3 days in a row, and I believe they are playing at the Ripken Academy next week.
Well, that's a nice it's really nice, and it's, if families, not only do the players go, but parents decide, hey, we're going to spend part of our week watching the kids play in warmer weather. So that's pretty neat.
Well, I remember South Louis used to go to that, and I believe IHC used to go to that or they used to go to Myrtle Beach, and and like you said, families plan their spring break vacations around that, and kids go down and get some games in.
Did you get a chance to watch any of the Masters last weekend? Did you get?
I did on Sunday, and I felt for Rory McIlroy because he took victory from the jaws of defeat. He just one hole he'd look tremendous, and then the next hole, especially the one hole where he had the easy 120-yard chip and chipped it into the water. He had a 3-shot lead, and it was such a struggle for him, but finally completed the Grand Slam.
Yeah, and he was, he's had a lot on his plate over the last few years, a lot of pressure. People asking, hey, is he ever going to win a Masters? And, of course, being the face of the PGA Tour over the years, with Liv coming about, he was...
he didn't speak to Bryson DeChambeau the whole final round. They played together, and they asked DeChambeau afterwards, they're like, what did Rory say to you? He said, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, they just he was concentrating on the job ahead, and DeChambeau did not have his best round of golf falling apart.
And he's a good golfer. It seems like when he gets into those tight spots too, he falls apart as well. For Rory, I mean, he had that one shot on the par 5 on the back 9 where he just kind of hooked it around the trees, and it was within 6 feet of the hole, and that was probably the shot of the tournament for him, because if he didn't hit that shot and have that result on that hole, things could have been different. Justin Rose could have been wearing the green jacket instead of Rory.
Playoffs have begun, begun for the NBA, NHL, of course, heading into the playoffs.
And what were you talking about before we went on about the interesting thing about the NHL playoffs? 4
of the original 6, the 4 American-based teams out of the original 6 did not make the playoffs this year. Detroit, Chicago, the Rangers, and Boston did not make it. You've a changing of, the guard's been changing for a long time, but a changing of the guard on the ice. And Ashley, our show producer here, is a big Devils fan.
Yeah.
Despite that fact, we like her. So it'll be interesting to see how her Devils do.
Yeah. And when was the last time that a Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup?
It's probably. Who would it be? Canadians?
Ashley's looking it up on her phone.
I think the Canadians. Now. Ashley, you let us know when you find that out.
But it's been a long time.
I think it might be the Habs.
You talk about a changing of the guard, and
Is it the Habs?
What year?
93. So it's been a long time. Leafs haven't won since 67. I know that. So it'll be interesting. Of course, Edmonton, those teams of Gretzky's.
I'm just thinking about the Sabres. They haven't even sniffed the playoffs in 15 years.
It's tough. It's tough. Hopefully they can they can bounce back.
They have such great young talent too. It's just we'll see.
What do you think, NBA? Lakers going to make a run?
I think so.
You think so?
And who knows? Could this be LeBron's last stand?
Yeah.
I mean, he's getting up there in age, and he said all he wanted to do was play long enough where he could play with his son. If the Lakers go on a run and win an NBA championship, and LeBron's son's sitting on the bench, I mean, what a better way to go out? Win an NBA championship with your son.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how those playoffs shake out. And turning to baseball, a lot of Yankee fans in the area. Yankees kind of stumbling out of the block a little bit, facing a ton of National League teams early on. And then, thank goodness, Kansas City came to town to right the ship a little bit for the Yankees. Best news out of that, though, individually, Aaron Judge being named captain of Team USA for next year's World Baseball Classic.
My question is, are they going to allow the torpedo bats in the World Baseball Classic?
I think that's a good question. I would think they would. I mean, Major League Baseball, I think, runs that, right?
Yeah.
The World Baseball Classic.
They found no problem.
They have no problem whatsoever. But that was big news. Torpedo bats, and if it was any other team but the Yankees, probably wouldn't have been a big a story. But
no, and the way the season started out with Judge, it looked like he was going to hit 200 home runs this year.
Yeah.
But things have kind of cooled off. The torpedo bat thing kind of going by the wayside now because you're not getting those crazy 7-8 home run games. But, back to the Yankees for a minute. They've been struggling with pitching. Garrett Cole done for the year. Tommy John surgery. Luis Heel and Clark Schmidt have both been out for a while, but they're both scheduled to come back. And, the Yankees have been turning to guys like 38-year-old Carlos Carrasco to hold the fort down. He did a pretty good job the other night. So, got to wait and see because the Yankees got some reinforcements coming to the pitching department. Their bullpen's been outstanding so far this year. If their bullpen hadn't played the way they have so far this year, the Yankees may be looking at a losing record right now.
And what about Fried? 3-0 to start the season.
Yeah, Max Fried off to a good start. Rodon also, not bad as well, having to step into that role that Garrett Cole, was in until he was lost for the season. So, Yankee, and if you look at the AL East, I think, most of the teams are around the 500 mark right now in the AL East. So, all it's going to take is for one team to go on a winning streak and separate themselves from the rest. But, Yankees, Baltimore, Toronto, all should be in the playoffs.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting season. Hopefully it'll warm up a little bit.
And you brought your bat in today, your Yankee bat.
It's actually a shovel handle. It was from the groundbreaking
of the new Yankee Stadium. I brought it in to tease one of our salespeople upstairs, Jesse, about it. He's a big Yankee fan. Yeah. So was the Hammer, Ray.
Oh, Ray Weston.
Ray Weston's a big
our
Yankee fan
money
too.
man.
That's right.
The strange part about him is every time you walk by, you can smell cash.
Well, you see him counting the money.
Yeah. And he takes nice trips, too. I don't know how the heck that's working out for him, but he's able to afford to go to nice places.
Yeah, he's going somewhere nice on spring break.
Good for him. I hope he enjoys it. I hope you enjoyed this. And make sure you get out to 315 local bakery and diner in Alexandria Bay and tell them that you watch this and we recommended that you go out there and try their food.
And people don't have an excuse this coming week because schools are going to be closed. Your kids are going to be on spring break. If you're close to home and you're looking for a nice afternoon trip, head up to the bay, go to 315, get something to eat, and watch the big ships go by on the St. Lawrence River.
You've planned my week.
Sounds good.
It may be the rest of my life. That's what I'll be doing. I'll just be looking at ships pass in the wind. That's it. Folks, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next week.